A kingdom that never sleeps. A story never narrated by any bodies, living or dead, kept their mouth at rest. Why a kingdom that never slept? A land not in our reach, where all seasons meet. Cold icy winds engulfed all the ends, snow-capped trees at all ends. Sun and moon both shake hands at one length. This is a story buried in the hearts of age. Today, I unfold as a sage, why a kingdom never slept till ages, until the curse was broken by a sage. An age too far, a stage beyond the studies of our minds. There was a kingdom of knights, where civilians were happy because their knights protected them of all frights. Good were the times when government and civilians walked hand in hand. Peace and harmony existed in the land of dreams, where streams of joy and rainbow of happiness flowed on streets. The kingdom of dreams was called Sapphire, which was ruled by the King Dire. Never seen a king with a sparkling chin, as he ruled his country well. Had a team of 12 knights who worked to maintain peace day and night. But then came a day when the country was raided by the witches of dark forest, as say. The witches kidnapped children of the kingdom and enslaved them to work in their country. When the news of kidnappings fell in the ears of King Dire, he raged in anger. He went in search of angels of his kingdom with his knights. They searched every sack of land, some went across the sea, some searched in mountains of the land. But all went in vain, as they couldn't find kids anywhere. Then a knight came with an idea which was bright. He told the king he would be dressed as a kid and play in wind. Let the witches kidnap him and take him to the land where kids of their kingdom were kept in. The king thought the idea was bright, and he told the knight he would be dressed as a kid that night. As the king dressed as a young child in the death of night, he saw a spark of light in the sky. As the spark grew big in sight, King Dire saw 2 witches on broom, coming towards his hide. The king tried to show his fright, so the witches may feel he is child with a big height. The 2 black souls, with a crooked big nose, held the king through his shoulders and flew him to the land with his legs hanging in air. Soon they threw the king in a cage, which was stuffed with kids till end. As the king was thrown in the crate, the kids yelled in rage, as the place was already packed with many faces. Some recognized the king, and a new hope of joy came on their little chin. Soon the 2 enchantress vanished in air, and the kids with king took a deep breath. The tots gave a voice to their overlord, that witches made them work till hours, and one day they will gift them as food to their lord. King Dire thought for a while, and told the kids not to worry, as the knights of their kingdom were on a ride to save them from these lives. As the king and kids waited for nights, the witches came and took them to work. They worked like slaves, and one day the night attacked the witches with their wits, as the 2 black lass were adorned with magical powers in extreme. As the knights fought with daredevil hearts, out of 12, 2 died by the black power. Soon all knights with king and kids were slaves and taken to their king, who was delighted to see so many chins, which was food to him. The king thought, and an idea popped in his grey. He asked the knights let the devil eat them first that night. The 10 knights with followed the king to the witch's lord that night. The moment lord picked the king to eat him, the knights aimed fire-lit arrows in the demon's maw. There the lord of witches died, burning himself to ashes. When the 2 black witches saw their lord was no more, in rage gave the king and their peasants a curse that they will sleep no more, if they will come to kill them at a tick. As the king, knights and with the kids of his kingdom reached their hide, but from that time no one in the place slept for a while. Wheel of time moved on, but the people of the Sapphire never slept. One day a sage came and saw the people of the place and asked why they had black eyes. The citizens narrated the tale, and the sage thought for a while and told the people to sleep that night. He will save them, witches will come that night. As the people rejoiced, the king with his citizens slept that night. The sage was awake, stood in front of Kingdom's Gate, and in the deep hours, the place was raided by the 2 witches, who wanted to take revenge of the dead lord, who had died years unknown. The sage stood in front of Kingdom's Gate and prayed to God as the witches were about to enter the place. An invisible shield threw them afar. Then they again tried to enter with full rampage, and this time the sage threw a handful of sand in the air, and the witches were ablaze. As the king and the peasants saw fireworks in the sky, they took a breath of relief as the witches were screaming ablaze. As the sage relieved the land of beauty, the king and his 10 knights thanked the sage, and they all lived happily.